Hello, and welcome to the Art of Online Marketing live show. My name is Denise Allison, and I give you the skills you need to create your own social media content. Now, today's episode is a little bit different. I just returned from I was gone for more than a week. I was gone since not last Friday, but the Friday before then. And I was in New York for a couple of business events. And then I took a detour through Montreal coming back. So that really inspired me to create this episode where I'm going to talk about the three-part process to make sure that you get the most out of events when you are looking to network and connect with new people. So today I'm going to walk you through what those steps are. So just before we do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my trip and the types of things I did. So I was in New York. The original reason I went is to go to Streaming Media East. And inside of that event, there's an event called Live Streaming Summit. So there's probably 3 or 4 different tracks, and one of them completely focused on live streaming. So I was invited there to speak on a panel about increasing your revenue streams using live videos. So that was the original reason I was there. I did that. It was lots of fun, met some great people, and I was really happy to be part of that event. I met a lot of different types of people than I would normally meet at other events I go to, and so it was really good to do something different. The other event I went to was by Create and Cultivate, and that was a really fun event, unlike any I had ever been to before. It was all women. The decor was just all floral and pink. So if you see this poster behind me that says fabulous, that's basically what the entire event looked like pink and flowers and everything. And there were some really interesting panelists and speakers at that event. A few examples are Marie Forleo. She spoke on a panel and gave some insights into her and her business and how she got started. Martha Stewart gave a keynote. So it was really interesting to hear from her perspective and what she's up to now. And there's all kinds of other interesting women who had created businesses out of seeing a need. They didn't necessarily have the research and tech skills, although some of them did. There were both kinds of entrepreneurs there, and they really surround themselves with people to make the things that they wanted happen. So that was a lot of fun too. And then the last thing I went to was Entrepreneur. Oh shoot, what's the name? Entrepreneur Live. And this, basically, what this is, it's like a series of pop up events, and they last 2 or 3 hours each, and they feature 3 or 4 people who kind of give a casual talk about who they are, what they do, and that kind of thing. So basically, it's hosted by Richard Moore, and on this event, on this panel, Mark Metry was there, and he gave some insights into his podcast, and then a few other amazing people. So I won't get into too much detail because look, we don't have all day to talk about this. But it was a really great event. I met a lot of people who I'm actually already connected with on LinkedIn. So it's great to see them in real life and be able to touch them and see how tall they are. Apparently everyone is very tall, and just get to chat with them. So those are the 3 events I went to. So basically, like I said, doing those events really inspired me to create the content for today's video, which is how to make the most of those connections before and after an event. So step 1 is, okay, say you sign up for this event. First thing you want to do is you want to do your research with regards to who is going to be at that event so that you can make a point of meeting them there. Like it's great to go to these events and meet people, but you don't really want to just leave it up to chance. You want to have a strategy behind it. So step 1 is do your research and figure out who is going to be there. Now, in some cases, it is quite easy to find out who's going to be there. So if the event organizers have created either like a Facebook event page or a Facebook group or LinkedIn group or wherever a group for people who are registered and will be attending, it's really easy to go into there, see who the people who are attending are, and learn a little bit more about them. So that's like step 1. easy way to find out who's going to be there. If the event organizers haven't made it that easy for you, there's still plenty of ways that you can go ahead and find out at least some of the people who are going to be there. So one of them would be to head over to the social media pages of the event organizer or organizers and look for any post that is either announcing the event or is saying, oh, registration's open, go here, blah, blah, blah. Look for those kinds of posts and check out who has commented. They might have commented with, yes, I'm going, bought my ticket, or they might have commented something a little bit more subtle, but look for anyone who has commented on that post or who has liked that post, because there's a pretty good chance that they will be attending that event if they've taken the time to comment on it and engage with it. So go ahead, look for that, go look into them and add them to your list. So that's one way. Another way would be maybe they have a larger group that's not necessarily for the event itself, but it could be like a group that the organization has. So for example, when I went to create and cultivate, they didn't have a group for that event in itself, but they do have a group generally. So it's going into that group and either saying, hey, who's going to this event on May 14th? Or looking to see if someone has already posted that and ask the question, because there's a chance that's already happened. So it's going into that group, asking that question, seeing who responds, and then looking into those people a little bit. And the last thing that I recommend that you do, if there's no group or event already where you can easily see who's going, is to do a search for the hashtag of the event. So if the event has created a hashtag and said, this is going to be our hashtag for the event, most likely you would get that when you sign up or register or what have you. If the event has already done that, you can go ahead and do a search for that hashtag and see who is using it. So anyone else who has already signed up or registered for the event will know what that hashtag is and could potentially already be sharing it. So step one is do your research and know who is going to be at the event that you are planning on going to. Part two is make contact. So now that you've looked into who is going to be going to that event, you've made a list. I would say probably a list of 5 or so people that you want to connect with. If that's a 2 or 3 day event, if it's longer, you can have more. If it's shorter, you might have less, because you do want to take time to enjoy the event, and you might like randomly meet someone that's awesome, and you don't want to have to be running away from them for the people that you said you're going to meet. So you have probably 5 people on that list. So you're going to go ahead and contact them. So you might contact them through social media, and you might contact them through the email. So you're going to want to just send them a casual message. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be whatever. It just needs to say something like, hey, I saw that you're going to this event, and so am I, and you look awesome, and we should meet while we are there. So you're just planting the idea that 1, you exist, 2, you want to meet them, and then that means that they're going to be thinking the same thing as well. So I would say something like this, like, quote, or I don't know what it's called, quote unquote. Hi, Jennifer. I saw that you're planning on going to this kick-ass summit for women entrepreneurs in Toronto next month, and so am I. I stumbled upon your profile, and you look like a really interesting person. I would love to connect with you while we're there. So like I said, doing this helps put you on their radar. It's going to give them the opportunity to look into you a little bit and know a little bit more about you and process that before you actually meet in person. So it won't be a cold introduction. You'll already kind of know each other a little bit. And it also means that both of you are going to be making that effort to make sure that you run into each other during that event. So whether or not you make like specific plans to meet up, like let's meet for lunch on Tuesday at 12 at Starbucks, or if you let it kind of happen by chance, I really think that depends on the size of the event. If you're going to an event that has 100 people or less, you are going to run into that person. It's going to be easy enough to go sit at their table during lunch or coffee or during the sessions itself. It's easy enough to make that happen. If it's a really big event, so for example, social media marketing world has like 5,000 people, and there's a chance that you are not going to actually even see specific people. So if it's a larger event, you do want to plan a specific day and time that you might meet up if that is really important to you, which it is because you're doing this exercise. So make sure that you do that if it's going to be a larger event. So smaller event, you can just plant that idea in their mind and make sure that you run into each other and have the time for a little chat. If it's a big event, make sure that you choose a specific date and time to actually meet up, because there is a chance that you will never see that person. I know last year when I was at Social Media Marketing World, a friend of mine was there, and we literally never saw each other. We kept trying to find each other, and we'd always be at the opposite end of the conference hall. So in that case, don't leave it up to chance. So number 2 is contact. Now, part three is assuming that you've gone to the event, you've met them, everything was great, and now you're into the follow-up section. So after you've attended an event and you met with the person or people that you want to meet up with, and you've returned home, it's time to initiate follow-up sequence. So don't overcomplicate this, and really overthinking this and letting yourself get overwhelmed by what you're going to say in the follow-up, really it really becomes an extra challenge and becomes like a hurdle for you to ever actually follow up with that person, which creates a big hole in your pipe. So you want to send a simple message. It doesn't need to be fancy or like written by madmen, but it's going to be a simple message along the lines of whatever their name is. Name is, and it was so great meeting you at ABC event and chatting about the thing you chatted about. Let's schedule a call to discuss, a thing that you want to discuss that you have already talked about a little bit during the time that you have met. So doing that can have a really big impact. So following up is key to this entire process, because what happens is, think of it this way: you go to an event, you take a few days off work, there's all kinds of things that are happening at this event, you get home and you have to catch up on all the work that you have put off for a few days while you're at that event, potentially traveling to that event. So you have to catch up on that. You are processing and implementing all the actual things that you've learned at this event, and the great people and conversations that you met and had kind of fall on the back burner, and then they kind of become a distant memory, and no action is ever taken on the conversations that you had during that event. So you do want to take a few minutes to follow up with the people that you met, chatted with, and kind of set out some expectations for further things to happen, whether it was you doing something for them doing something for you, or having some type of collaboration. So you do want to take a few minutes to reach out to them, remind them of what it is you talked about and what the further actions were, and make sure you don't lose that goodwill and momentum that you had during that time, because it's a great connection for you and you don't want to lose out on that. All right, so those are the 3 things you want to do. That's the 3 parts of making sure that you are really maximizing the opportunity when it comes to networking events. So 1 is do your research. 2 is contact and make connection with the particular person or people before the event. And 3 is make sure that you follow up after the event. All right, so we got some comments here. How do I do this? All right. So Nicole says, great strategy. Making contact ahead of the event is a great idea. It really is. And I try to do this as much as possible. I mean, of course, it depends on the event and what's going on, but I always make a short list of people that I really want to meet, and I always reach out to them before so that they know that I'm looking for them. They know a little bit more about me. It takes multiple touch points for someone to feel like like they know you and trust you, and that's really the building blocks of building your business. So having that initial touch point before the event makes it easier for them to process you and see you as a familiar face. So I think that's a great idea for anyone who's going to events, especially where it's an event like for example, if you're going to an event locally in your own city, you might already know most of the people there, so it might not apply as much for smaller events. But if you're going to any conference or what have you, it is a great strategy. All right, so there you have it. That's the three-part strategy to make the most of networking events at conferences. And thank you so much for being with me here today and joining me. I'm back in the country and back in the province, so we'll be doing these live videos regularly again. And for anyone who's looking to really up their LinkedIn presence, I do have a free guide that's circling around. So if you want to up your LinkedIn presence, I have a free guide for entrepreneurs. So I'll put the link in the comments below and you can head over and get that. So we'll be live again next week. And starting next week, we are actually going to be we're going to be doing some expert interviews with various experts in the social media field. So I'm really looking forward to that. More details to come, but keep your eyes open for it. And I hope everyone has a fabulous day and a great week. All right, see you all later.